Hello, and welcome to another episode of Flow at Home with the Chubby Yogi. Welcome to today's class. We're going to get started today in a comfortable seated position on the mat. Perhaps that's crossing the legs as such, or maybe resting the soles of the feet on the mat and gently rolling over the knees. Whatever tickles your fancy today, go ahead and get settled on the mat. And then I'll ask you to draw the eyes to close. From here, I'll ask that you start to draw awareness to the breath, not asking the breath to change in any way, but rather simply becoming a silent observer of each inhale and each exhale as it happens naturally for you. Next, I'll invite you to draw awareness to all points of contact that you have with the mat, feeling yourself balance between the sit bones. And as if your seat were 2 bags of water, feel yourself drop into the mat space here, acknowledging the backs of the thighs, maybe the outer edges of the shins, and the outer edges of the feet. Feeling yourself grow heavy and grounding you here into this space. Drawing that awareness up into the belly space as you inhale, acknowledge the expansion of the belly. And then as you exhale, the pulling of the belly towards the spine. Drawing that awareness up into the chest space. As you inhale, acknowledge the expansion of the belly, and then the filling of the chest space, allowing each rib to gently separate and fill the lungs. And then as you exhale, the decompression of the chest space and the pulling of the belly towards the spine. Linking the body and the breath in this way, creating a wave-like pattern to the breath and the body. Lastly, I'll invite you to begin to match the pace of each inhale with the pace of each exhale, perhaps breathing in for 3 seconds and breathing out for 3 seconds. Drawing the hands to prayer at heart center and gently resting the thumbs on the sternum, bowing the chin slightly towards the fingertips, and taking a moment of gratitude here. Gratitude for the health of the body and the opportunity for us to come together and simply pause and breathe. The word yoga means to unite, and we'll unite our class today with three cleansing breaths. Inhaling through the nose, and then open mouth exhaling to release any energy from the day thus far. Go ahead and inhale through the nose. And open mouth exhale. Welcome to your mat. Inhale. And exhale. Welcome to your body. One last time, inhaling a little bit more than you've done thus far, and then open mouth, really exhale. Welcome to your practice. From here, I'll invite you to seal the lips and continue to breathe through the nostrils throughout the rest of class today. While doing this, seeing if you can constrict the muscles at the back of the throat, creating this like sound with the lips closed. This breath, known as Ujjayi breath, has been known to quiet the mind and relax the body. This breath will be audible to both you and your partner and will sound slightly like a wave. I'll invite you, keeping the eyes closed, on your next exhale to begin to roll over the knees, coming into your first child's pose of class. Taking the big toes together at the back of the mat and knees about as wide as the mat, and stretching the arms out towards the top of your mat space. If you find that your shoulders are tight today, you can gently bend the elbows and stack one hand on top of the other and rest the forehead down. Here in this first child's pose, really allow yourself to sink into this posture, awakening through the back body and inviting the hips to become ready for practice. Over the next 3 or 4 breaths, I invite you to perhaps set an intention for your practice. Maybe that there's a person or an issue that you could send your practice to today that in some small way might bring an end of suffering or perhaps a resolution. Or maybe this next hour and 15 minutes is simply for you to have an ability or a moment of your day to simply pause and breathe for you. On your next inhale, you can begin to lift the torso and find yourself in your first tabletop of class today. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the skeletal hips, and keeping the eyes closed or open here. As you inhale, drop the belly and take the gaze up towards the sky for cow pose. And then as you exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine, pull the belly back to the spine, cat pose. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And then start to use your breath as a guide here and move through about 3 or 4 rounds of these cat-cows, really allowing yourself to acknowledge the body in each posture. A lot of us spend a lot of our day trying to hold the abdomen in and maybe hide a little extra tummy chub, I like to call it. Here you have the opportunity to really allow the belly to fall open and then pull the belly back to the spine. It might feel nice to start to take the weight of the body up over the wrists and then back to the heels, creating gentle circles of motion in the body. If you've been going in one direction, I'll invite you to change that direction of motion to balance out these big body circles. And then starting to find stillness in your tabletop position, I'll invite you to open the eyes. And as you inhale, lift the right arm towards the sky and take the gaze up. And then as you exhale, thread the needle through to the opposite side, palm up, encouraging the right ear to the earth and extending the left arm towards the top of the mat. Finding one point of drishti here to focus the gaze. For those of you wishing to fly in this practice today, as you inhale, you can extend the left leg long on the mat and then stretch that heel towards the sky. Sometimes it's rather natural in this position to fall over, and if that happens, that's okay. Just make your way back. For those of you who've chosen to fly, as you exhale, invite the knee back to the earth, and everyone inhale and pull that palm back towards the face. Lift the right arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. Exhale and watch yourself set the palm down on the mat. Taking that to the other side, inhale, lift the left arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. Exhale, thread the needle, encouraging the left ear to the mat and extending the right arm towards the top of the mat. Option again here, if you would wish to fly, you can inhale and stretch the right leg long on the mat, and then stretch the heel towards the sky. For those of you flying, as you exhale, pull the knee back to the mat. Inhale, pull the left arm back towards the face, right arm back towards the face, lift the left arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. Exhale, set the palm down. From here, starting to wake up those low abs. As you inhale, lift the knees about 1 inch off the earth. And we're going to hover here, really focusing on pulling those low abs towards the spine. And then starting to send the breath to anywhere where your muscles begin to fire up and maybe start to shake a little bit here. One more breath. And as you exhale, you can lower the knees to the earth and then the chest and then the chin. Flattening out completely, inhale, lift the chest for baby cobra. And as you exhale, bring the spine back to neutral. Bringing the hands just outside the mat space and coming up onto the fingertips, pointing the elbow towards the sky. As you inhale, lift the chest and take the gaze up over the right shoulder. Exhale back to center. Inhale and press the chest up and look over the left side. Exhale back to center. We'll do this one more time on each side. Inhaling to press the chest up and gaze over the right shoulder. Exhaling to meet back in the center. Inhale to lift and look over the left side. Exhale back to center. And then bringing the hands back under the shoulders. Tuck the back toes. Inhale, press up, plank pose. Holding this plank pose for about 5 yogic breaths. Oftentimes it's very natural to sink down in between the shoulder blades here, but instead imagine someone placing a weight in between their shoulder blades, and you're pressing that weight up to the sky, pressing the back of the heart space and doming out through that area, strengthening through the legs and through the arms. 2 more breaths. I learned in yoga teacher training that yogis breathe very, very slow. On your next inhale, lift the hips towards the sky, downward facing dog. Welcome to your first downward facing dog of class. This might be a lot, especially for those of you that sit a lot during your day. So maybe you take the dog for a walk here by bending one knee and then straightening through this same side. And really using your breath as a guide here to alternate bending the knees and straightening the knees. Sometimes it feels really good in this first down dog to come up high on the balls of the feet, press out to plank, push back to down dog. Sometimes it feels nice to really bend the knees and squat down low, or even use your tailbone to try and spell your name on the back wall behind you. Taking about 2 or 3 more breaths in this first down dog to get all the wiggles out, to take any movement that you really feel necessary. And then starting to find some stillness in this down dog, we'll check in with our alignment here. We want our hands about as wide as our shoulders and our feet about as wide as our skeletal hips. I really like to wake up my spine in this first moments of down dog with what I call some down dog spine ripples. So as you inhale, come up high on the balls of the feet and then ripple the spine out to plank. And as you exhale, lower the self all the way to the earth. Inhale for baby cobra. Exhale through child's pose. And then inhale for downward facing dog. And we'll move through 2 more rounds of these spine ripples. So inhale, come up high on the balls of the feet. Ripple the spine out to plank. Exhale, lower the body to the earth. Inhale for baby cobra. Exhale through child's pose. And on your inhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. One last time through these down dog spine rolls. Inhale, come up high on the balls of the feet. Ripple the spine out to plank. Exhale, lower the body to the earth. Inhale for baby cobra. Option for full cobra here. And then as you exhale, move through child's pose. And then meet in downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale and look towards the top of the mat. Exhale, walk your feet up to meet your hands. And then taking your feet out about as wide as the mat space, really allow the upper body to hang here. You could even rest the backs of the hands on the mat, bringing you into this ragdoll position. So often in this position, our weight sinks back to our heel or seat side. See if you can roll that weight a little bit forward into the balls of the feet to allow gravity to take action on the spine and really pull the upper body towards the earth. From here, it might feel nice to reach for opposite elbows and sway the body from side to side. And beginning to find some stillness, planting the hands on the mat under the nose. As you inhale, lift the right arm towards the sky and straighten through the right knee. Exhale to center, bending the knee. Taking that to the left side, inhale, lift the left arm towards the sky, gaze goes up, straighten through the left knee. Exhale to center. One last time, inhale, lift the right arm towards the sky, gaze goes up, straighten through the right knee. Exhale, center. Inhale, left side, lifting that left arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. Exhale, center. And then heel toeing the feet together. Inhale, halfway lift the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, fold again, really bending the knees a lot if you have to get the palms to press into the mat space. And then finding balance in all four corners of the feet, slowly press the feet into the earth and begin to roll the vertebra one vertebra at a time all the way until the body comes to standing. The last thing to come to standing will be the crown of the head. And then showing our shoulders a little bit of love here. As you inhale, lift the shoulders up the back spine towards the back of the skull, and then exhale, round the shoulders forward. And then inhale, lift them up the spine. Exhale, roll them forward. And reversing that, inhale them up towards the ears, and exhale, send them down the spine. One last time, inhale towards the ears. Exhale, send them down the spine. And then drawing the hands to prayer at heart center here, resting the thumbs on the sternum. I'll invite you to close the eyes and begin to stack the spine, stacking the shoulders over the hips, and then elongating through the spine, through the neck, and really reaching the crown of the head towards the sky, keeping the shoulders down and wide away from the ears. Opening the eyes and releasing the hands. We'll begin to really warm up for practice today with some Surya Namaskar A, or Sun Salutation A. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky, gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, plant the hands and step back to plank. Inhale here, and as you exhale, lower the knees, and then the chest, and then the chin. Flattening out completely, inhale, press up for baby cobra. Exhale through child's pose, meeting in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, looking towards the top of the mat, exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet forward in between the hands. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reaching the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, the hands to prayer. Releasing the hands. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, vinyasa. Moving through your vinyasa, that can be any version of stepping back to plank or stepping back to chaturanga. Moving through baby cobra or full cobra or up dog. And then either moving through child's pose or downward facing dog. So pausing here in this first down dog. If you're new to yoga, vinyasa means to set in a special way. Vinyasa is the way to clear the practice after each new variation. And when I cue vinyasa in class today, you can move through your own vinyasa, or you can simply take stepping back to plank, lowering the body all the way to the earth, lifting for baby cobra, pressing back to child's, and moving through down dog. Or take your version, perhaps that's chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Okay, from here, inhale, look towards the top of the mat. Exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reaching the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, the hands to prayer. I love that yoga is a practice of looking inward rather than looking outward. So if you'd like, I'd invite you to close the eyes. And on this last sun salutation, we'll do it with the eyes closed. Releasing the hands. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, vinyasa, meeting in downward facing dog. Whenever I cue a vinyasa in class, remember to take your time. This time is really yours to enjoy the vinyasa and move at your own pace. From down dog, as you inhale, look towards the top of the mat, and as you exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reaching the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, the hands to prayer. Little variation in our sun salutation. Releasing the hands and opening the eyes. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step just the left leg to the back of the mat. Staying here in this high runner's lunge. Using the fingertips here as just a balancer rather than to rest our weight. Really trying to engage through the low core to keep the torso at this angled position. And if you could imagine the inner thighs zipping towards one another to really engage the full body in this low or high runner's lunge here. Inhale and take the gaze towards the sky. Exhale, lower the back knee, untuck the back toes. Inhale, lift the torso, low lunge. Here in this low lunge, you really want to focus on stacking the front knee over the front ankle and pressing the front heel into the earth and slightly pulling the heel back to really engage the belly of the hamstring. Working on some cactus breath here. Inhale and take the gaze towards the sky. And we're going to open mouth, exhale, send our elbows back behind us. Sealing the lips, inhale through the nose and sweep the arms towards the top of the mat and then towards the sky. Open mouth, exhale, drop the elbows. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, elbows. Inhale, reach. 2 more times, just like that. Exhale for the elbows. Inhale to reach. Exhale. And inhale, reaching the arms towards the sky. Taking the gaze back out in front of the mat space. As you exhale, begin to bring the hands to the mat and take the seat back towards the heels here for seated half splits. For those of you that have splits in your practice, you're more than welcome to begin to extend through both the back and front legs to work into that split space. Option to reach for blocks in seated half splits for the hands. If you're moving into full splits, option to use the block as an assistance. Wherever you are in this position, begin to settle in, and we'll hold for 3 yogic breaths. On your next inhale, begin to bring the weight back into the front foot. Inhale, lift the torso, low lunge. As you exhale, frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, and lift the back knee. You can stay right here if this is a lot for your practice. Otherwise, as you inhale, lift the right arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. You can stay right here. For those of you seeking more, you can roll to the outside edge of the left foot and swing the right foot back to stack on top, side plank pose. Option to bring the knee down. Wherever you are in this posture, 1 more breath. And as you exhale, bringing the hand back to the mat, For those of you needing to step back to plank pose, if you're already in plank pose, everyone, vinyasa. Meeting in child's pose. Remember to take your time, and any variation is really welcome in these vinyasas. You can even skip these vinyasas if you find this is just too much. Always bring your practice back to child's pose or some other resting posture that suits your practice. Here in this child's pose, I'll invite you to maybe grab a sip of water. If you're starting to warm up and need to maybe towel off the sweat, you can do so. And then I really invite you to start to bring the pace of the inhale back to meet the pace of the exhale, bringing the breath back into balance. And then from this child's pose, on your next inhale, you can really take the weight into the palms, tuck the back toes, lift the knees and hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, look towards the top of the mat. Exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reaching the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, the hands to prayer. Releasing the palms. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands and step the right foot to the back of the mat. Again, here, staying in this high runner's lunge, using the fingertips as a place of balance rather than a place to rest weight. Engaging through the core to keep the torso at this angled position, and then as if you could zip up your inner thighs to engage the lower extremities. Inhale to take the gaze up. Exhale, release the back knee to the earth, untuck the back toes. Inhale, lift the torso, low lunge. On your next exhale, open the arms to the left side and take the gaze back behind you. Inhale, lift the arms back to center. Exhale, open to the right side. Inhale, center. Exhale to bring the hands to the earth and start to take the seat to the heels. Seated half splits on the opposite side. Again, option to take this into full splits. Option to reach for blocks if that's needed. Really take the option that's best for your practice. Oftentimes you hear in classes, now we're going to do what we did on the other side. But I really believe in doing what feels right for each side. So you can take a moment here to play in this seated or full splits. And then we'll start to settle in. And we'll hold for 3 yogic breaths. For those of you in full splits, you can start to make your way out. And everyone, as you inhale, bring the weight back into the front foot. Lift the torso, low lunge. As you exhale, frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Inhale, lift the left arm towards the sky, gaze goes up. You can stay right here, or for those seeking more, you can roll to the outside edge of the right foot, swing the left foot back to stack, side plank pose. Option to bring the knee to the earth for assisted side plank. Wherever you are in this posture, one more breath. And as you exhale, bringing the hand back to the earth, for those of you needing to step back to plank pose, and everyone, vinyasa, meeting in child's pose. From this child's pose, I invite you to start to bring yourself back to the intention that you may have set for yourself in class, focusing the mind's eye again on whatever that intention is for you. And also inviting the pace of the inhale to begin to match the pace of the exhale, allowing the heart rate to lower, And on your next inhale, taking the weight into the palms, tuck the toes, lift the knees and hips, downward facing dog. So often in my classes, I get requests for ab work that I have just started to kind of work that in routinely into my practice. And we'll move through a few different types of abs today. The first being what I call down dog abs. I'm sure there's like a real official name for them, but that's what I like to refer to them as. So bringing the feet together at the back of the mat, coming into a three-legged dog. Inhale, come up high on the balls of the feet, and then lift the right foot or right leg towards the sky. And as you exhale, pull the knee into the chest and pause here. And then inhale to reach that leg towards the sky. And exhale, pull the knee to the right elbow, pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to cross the body and tap the left elbow, pause. Inhale, extend. And as you exhale, you're going to step the right foot through the front hands, keeping the back heel lifted towards the sky. Inhale, lift the torso, crescent lunge. Here in crescent lunge, it's very natural for the lower body to bow out here. See instead, if you can really engage the low abs to pull the belly towards the spine and lengthen through the low spinal area. On your next inhale, straighten through the front knee. And as you exhale, open mouth exhale, paint the walls and bend both knees. Inhale, rise. Exhale, squat down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, squat. Inhale to reach. Exhale, squat. Inhale, rise. Holding here. Bending back through that front knee and bringing the hands to prayer at heart center. On our next inhale, you're going to begin to take the weight all the way into that front leg, lifting the left leg towards the sky for warrior three pose. Here in warrior three, option to keep the hands where they are or to fly the arms back behind you. Oftentimes in warrior three, our hips try to stack rather than stay parallel to the mat space. If your hip has tried to pop open a little bit, see if you can roll that down and become parallel with the mat space. On your next inhale, begin to lift the torso and draw the right knee into the chest. Option to stay here in your practice today, trying to extend the leg and keep the heel parallel with the hip. That's not really where my practice allows me to take or to go, and so I offer you a little bit different posture. You can bend the knee, and then from the inside of the foot, reach down and take a hold of the big toe. And as you exhale, extend the leg forward out in front of you. Sometimes it's very helpful to bring the right hand to the right hip here. Option to pull that leg to the side wall, opening up through the hips. It's very natural in this posture to fall in and out of balance. And if you do, that's totally fine. Just find your way back into a variation here. And on your next exhale, we're going to bring this foot into a version of tree pose. So maybe that's a little kickstand. Maybe that's resting the sole of the foot on the right calf area, or maybe that's pulling the sole of the left foot all the way up into the upper thigh region of the right leg. Really opening through the hips and squaring them towards the top of the mat and drawing the hands to prayer at heart center. And then maybe your practice allows you to grow some branches here. Oftentimes I find that there becomes some wind in the studio when we do this, and sometimes your branches just have to move around. But for sure, trees are always smiling. And then on your next exhale, you can bring the hands back to prayer at heart center. And then on your next exhale, release the foot and allow it to step to the back of the mat space, bringing you into warrior two pose. Checking in with our alignment here, you want front heel to back arch alignment, front knee over the front ankle. And for so long, this posture was really difficult for me. I would find that my front knee would be like on fire, would really ache, and my muscles would shake. And I heard somebody once that you should never have any fire in the front knee if you're doing this posture correctly. And that's because all of your weight should be centered in the back leg, really pressing the knife edge of the back foot into the earth. And then when your arms are extending long, as if being pulled apart in a game of tug of war, imagine the team in the back winning ever so slightly to stack the hips and the shoulders and really allow the weight to sink into that back foot and ground you there. Hopefully that may have taken a little bit of the tension out of the front knee for you all. Inhale, reverse warrior. Here in this reverse warrior, as you inhale, straighten through the front knee and then maybe walk the back foot in about an inch or two. And then as you exhale, allowing the arms to start to reach towards the top of the mat and then tick-tocking to bring you in to triangle pose. Here in triangle pose, maybe reaching for a block or the big toe or the shin, or if your practice allows it, reaching for the earth. And then again, it's very natural here to allow that arm to take all of our weight and rest here. Whereas instead, you should really try and engage to the obliques to keep the torso lifted and open to the side wall. You guys are so strong today, and your triangles look so gorgeous. As you inhale, begin to lift the torso for warrior two pose. Inhale for reverse warrior. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands to the earth, step back, vinyasa. Again, remembering to take your time in this vinyasa and really going at your own pace. And we'll meet in child's pose, allowing for a moment of rest here. Maybe grab a sip of water or begin to towel off. And then again, always bringing that intention back onto the mat space. Maybe the mind has wandered a little, gently giving it a little tug back here on the mat. And begin to match the pace of the inhale with the pace of the exhale. And on your next inhale, you can take the palms and take the weight into the palms, tuck the toes, lift the knees and hips, downward facing dog. You have some abs on the opposite side to work on. So bringing the feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, come up high on the balls of the feet and lift the left leg towards the sky. As you exhale, pull the knee into the chest and pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to pull the knee and tap the left elbow. Pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to cross the body and tap the knee against the right elbow. Pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to step the left leg through while keeping the back heel lifted towards the sky. Inhale, lift the torso, crescent lunge. Again, taking a moment to check in. Again, checking in with our alignment here. Really engaging through those low abs and then pulling the belly towards the spine to lengthen through the low spine. Inhale to straighten through the front knee. And then as you open mouth, exhale, paint the walls, squat down, bending both knees. Inhale, rise. And exhale, squat. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, staying here, bending through that front knee and drawing the hands to prayer. On our next inhale, bringing the weight into the front knee area and then lifting the right leg towards the sky. Warrior three pose. Option to keep the hands here at heart center at prayer, or option to fly the arms back behind. Finding one point to send your gaze or your drishti. And then again, checking in with the hips, seeing if maybe one has kind of popped a little open and encouraging it to roll parallel to the mat space. Drawing the hands to prayer at heart center. Inhale, lift the torso, pull the right knee into the chest. And then option again to stay right here, seeing if you can extend the right leg and then lift it so that the heel is parallel to the hip, or if that's a little much, you can bend the knee and reaching from the inside of the foot, grab a hold of the big toe, exhale, extend the foot out in front of you. To find balance, it's often really nice here to bring the left hand to the hip. If you would wish, you can open the leg up to the side wall, opening through the hips. If you found yourself slightly falling out of this posture, that's a-okay. Start to make your way back into a variation. And then as we exhale, we'll take this posture into tree pose. Maybe finding a little kickstand or resting the sole of the right foot on the inner calf area of the left leg, or pulling the sole of the foot all the way to the upper thigh. Once you've found balance, bringing the hands to prayer at heart center, or maybe reaching the arms out to grow some tree branches. Maybe again, there's a little wind in the studio today, and that's okay. Trees have a little bit of give and flexibility. Let's see if you can put a little smile on your tree. And then beginning to find some stillness here, bringing the hands back to prayer at heart center, lifting the right knee to the chest, and as you exhale, step the right foot to the back of the mat, drawing you in to warrior two pose on this side. Again, checking in with alignment, striving for front heel to back arch alignment, stacking the knee over the ankle. And then again, as if you're in that game of tug-of-war and your arms are being pulled apart, but the team just behind you is winning ever so slightly, sending the weight a little back, relieving any tension in that front knee. Inhale, reverse warrior. And here in this reverse warrior, as you inhale, straighten through the front knee and maybe walk the back foot in 1 to 2 inches. On your next exhale, begin to tick-tock the arms, reaching the front fingers towards the top of the mat, and then fully tick-tock, bringing you into triangle pose. Here in triangle pose, again, option to reach for a block or the earth, or maybe the big toe or shin. And again, trying instead of dumping or resting any weight here in that free arm, seeing if you can really engage through the obliques in this triangle pose. One more breath. Inhale for warrior two. Inhale for reverse warrior. Exhale to cartwheel the hands to the earth. Step back to plank, vinyasa, meeting in child's pose. Here in this child's pose, always an option to take a sip of water and begin to bring the mind back to the mat space if it has wandered. Gently reeling it in, reminding it of its intention, and focusing on the breath to bring the pace of the inhale to match the pace of the exhale. On your next inhale, take the weight into the palms, tuck the toes, lift the knees and hips, downward facing dog. And then bringing the feet together again at the back of the mat for three-legged dog. Inhale to come up high on the balls of the feet. Lift the right leg towards the sky. And as you exhale, pull the knee into the chest and pause. Inhale to extend. Exhale to tap the right elbow and pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to cross the body, tap the left elbow. Inhale, extend. This time as you exhale, pull the knee into the chest, and we're going to set the knee just behind the right wrist on the mat, moving our way into pigeon pose here. Option to reach for a block or a bolster to slide under the outside of that right thigh area. To set up for this pigeon pose, sometimes it's a lot on my hip joint, so I like to kind of ease into this. Taking a look over your left shoulder at your back toes, making sure the toes are pointed straight to the back wall. And then coming up high on the fingertips and taking the gaze up towards the sky. As you exhale, begin to lower the torso about halfway. Inhale to rise. Exhale to melt. One last time. Inhaling to reach the spine long. Take the gaze up towards the sky. Exhale to melt all the way down into this pigeon pose. For you, maybe pigeon pose is going to be coming to the forearms or to a block, or perhaps it's reaching the arms all the way to the top of the mat and allowing the forehead to rest down. Just know that sometimes these pigeon poses aren't necessarily Instagram worthy for some of us, and that's okay. Whatever pigeon looks like for you is absolutely enough for your practice today. Any variation is more than welcome. Starting to settle in here and really trying for 3 or 4 yogic breaths to have no wiggles. To really settle in and hold this posture for 3 more yogic breaths. On the inhale, you can begin to walk the hands back towards the torso, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then extend the right leg towards the sky. Option here to bend the knee and circle out the hip, maybe circling out the ankle, or option to flip the dog all the way over. I like to say here this motion helps to undo the crunchiness that we just created in our hip area. For those of you that chose to flip the dog, you can start to make your way back into downward facing dog. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog here. And taking that pigeon pose to the other side, bringing the feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale to come up high on the balls of the feet and lift the left leg towards the sky. And as you exhale, pull the knee into the chest and pause. Inhale to extend. Exhale to tap the left elbow and pause. Inhale, extend. Exhale to cross the body, tap the right elbow. Inhale, extend. And exhale, pull the knee into the chest and set it down behind the front left wrist. Lowering down to set up for this pigeon pose. Here in pigeon pose, the goal is to try and get the shin parallel to the top of the mat. It really is not accessible for many people's practice, I find, and it's definitely not quite yet accessible for mine. It's something that I'll have to work on. So pulling the heel as close to the body as you need to comfortably protect the knee. And I'll invite you to always try and flex the toes back towards the knee here in pigeon pose. Again, reaching for any props that might be necessary and taking the gaze over the right shoulder to check in with our back toes and see if they've maybe gone a little cattywampus back there. Pointing the toes to the back of the mat, and then taking the gaze towards the sky, coming up high on the fingertips. Exhale to melt the torso about halfway. Inhale to rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, begin to settle into pigeon pose on this side. Taking the forearms to the earth, or maybe extending the arms all the way long on the mat and allowing the forehead to rest down. Remember that wherever pigeon pose is accessible to you in your practice is more than enough today. And then starting to settle into this pigeon pose, we will begin to hold here for 3 yogic breaths. On your next inhale, beginning to walk the hands back towards the body, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. Inhale, press the left leg towards the sky. Again, option to bend the knee, taking some hip circles and ankle circles, or option to flip the dog if that's in your practice. Again, trying to just create that counterbalance or counter posture to what we just created with that pigeon. For those of you that chose to flip the dog, you can start to make your way back into downward facing dog, and we'll all meet there. This time, taking it to a regular down dog with our feet about as wide as our hips, hands about as wide as our shoulders, and really encouraging the heels to the earth in this down dog. On your next exhale, you can walk the hands back to meet the feet. And then taking the middle finger and index finger and wrapping those under the big toes, creating a circle with the thumb to pull and hold onto the toes here. Inhale to lift the torso about halfway. Exhale to really begin to fold forward here, allowing the elbows to reach towards the back of the calves. Really encouraging the torso onto the tops of the thighs. And maybe here you begin to straighten through the legs. On the next inhale, you can release. And this time, sliding the hands under the feet, Padahastasana here. You want your toes to be about in the wrist creases and really allowing the weight of the body to roll into the balls of the feet. Inhale to lift the torso about halfway. Exhale, forward fold, allowing the elbows to bend towards the outer walls, allowing the torso to relax on the upper quads. Maybe you begin to straighten through the legs. Inhale, release, and as you exhale, walk the hands back to downward facing dog. Inhale and look towards the top of the mat. Exhale, walk, step, or hop the feet forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reaching the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale the hands to prayer. And then taking a look over your right shoulder. As you exhale, step the right foot to the back of the mat, about 3 feet, and then go ahead and pivot and turn towards that side of the mat. And then you want your heels in and toes out here, reaching both arms towards the sky for the starfish-like pose. And as we exhale, we're going to bend the knees and pull the elbows alongside the body and say, ha. Inhale to rise. Exhale to squat. Ha. 3 more, just like that. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Holding here in this exhale in this goddess squat. You can take your hands to the knees here. And as you exhale, dip the left shoulder towards the center, taking the gaze up over the right side. Inhale, center. Exhale, dip the right shoulder, take the gaze up over the left shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, one last time, dipping the left shoulder and taking the gaze up over the right side. Inhale to center. Exhale, dip the right shoulder. Inhale to center. Exhale and stand up. This time, turning toes in and heels out. For me, I have really long legs, so I have to extend my stance to about 4.5 feet, sometimes 5 feet, depending. I have to get a really wide stance here to work into some inversion work. Bringing the hands to the hips. As you exhale, begin to take the torso to about halfway. Then releasing the hands to the floor. Here, you want your hands about shoulders distance apart, and you want the fingertips in line with the toes. We don't want our hands really far out or really back behind us, but rather fingertips in line with our toes. And as you exhale, begin to encourage the upper body to really fold, tucking the chin slightly to encourage the crown of the head to come to the earth. For those of you that find getting the crown of the head onto the earth is really inaccessible, that's okay. We're going to use these next 7 to 10 yogic breaths to just work on this forward fold, using the inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to see if you can fold a little deeper, finding a little bit more softness in this posture to begin to work to get the crown of the head to the earth. For those of you that find you can really get to that position quite nicely, getting the crown of the head all the way to the mat space. If an inversion is in your practice, like a headstand, you can begin to work into that now. For those of you maybe just playing with inversions to start out with, you're already set up very nicely for a tripod pose here. So pressing the hands into the mat to relieve a little bit of tension from the neck, really using the hands here to press the chest and shoulders away from the earth. You can bend one of the knees and place it on the elbow. You'll find that your stance has that already set up quite nice for you, that you'll find the elbow pretty easy. And then once you've bent your knee, you can practice with taking that foot off the earth and bending the knee and pulling the heel towards the seat. And then maybe you do that with the other side as well. Again, remembering to use the hands to press into the earth, to push the earth away, to protect the neck. We don't want to, rest all of our weight into our head here. Rather, we're using our hands as well. And wherever you are, either in a forward fold or in a version of an inversion, you can take about 3 more yogic breaths. For those of you that chose to work into an inversion, I'll invite you to start to make your way back to the forward fold with your feet firmly planted on the mat space. Once there, everyone inhale to lift the torso about halfway, bringing the hands to the hips. Exhale to lift the torso all the way up. And then pointing the left toes towards the top of the mat. As you exhale, bend into the right knee. And then inhale to spring yourself forward to the top of the mat. Here at the top of the mat, bringing the hands to prayer at heart center. Releasing the hands to the side. Inhale, reach the arms towards the sky. Gaze goes up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, vinyasa. This will be the last vinyasa for a little while, so really enjoy it. Take your time and use this time for your pace and your own version of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. And here from downward facing dog, as you inhale, look towards the top of the mat. And as you exhale, just walk your feet up to meet your hands. For those of you that have Malasana in your practice, you can move into that now. For those of you that are new to Malasana, you're going to turn your toes out and your heels in. Your feet are about as wide as your hips, maybe a little bit wider than the hips here. And your elbows will come in to the inner knees and your hands will be at prayer. And you can really press your knees and elbows in together to create some points of contact. And you can start to sit the seat down, really pressing the elbows into the knees and the knees into the elbows to give you that strength to hold the body in this Malasana squat. Oftentimes for me, this first Malasana squat is a lot on my hip flexors because I do spend a lot of my day seated at my day job. So I like to work these out with a little bit of Malasana squats, interlacing the fingers. And as you inhale, stand up, reach up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, squat back down into Malasana. Inhale to reach. Exhale to squat. Inhale to stand it up, reach towards the sky. Exhale, squat. Staying in this Malasana squat, if you find that this is a lot for you, you can always roll the edge of your mat up maybe once or twice and then rest the heels there. Sometimes this is a lot on the Achilles tendons as well, and sometimes it's just not really accessible option to always come onto the balls of the feet. Some of us have just a little bit shorter Achilles tendons that kind of prevents this Malasana squat from happening in our practice. That's okay. All versions and variations are welcome. For those of you who have crow pose in your practice, you're set up quite nice here to move through that. For those of you that at home that might be a little bit new to this, the easiest way to get into crow pose from this posture is to bring the hands out about as wide as the knees, and then go ahead and sit the feet up, coming onto the balls of the feet. Lean the torso forward and plant the hands out in front of the mat, or maybe you're still on the mat a little bit. And then really take the gaze forward. Imagine reaching your chest forward. And the more you lean forward, your knees are already on the backs of the triceps. There's a really nice shelf there created for your knees to rest on. And it's really natural in this pose to look back at our feet and see what our feet are doing, but I promise you nothing exciting is happening at your rear. Everything exciting is happening out in front of you. So keeping the gaze forward, really reaching the chest forward, you can start to practice with picking up one of your feet. Beautiful. And pointing the toe and taking that heel towards the seat. Then maybe you set that one back down. And then we'll take that to the other side. Taking one foot off the earth, bending the heel towards the torso, pointing the toe, and then taking it back. And then maybe you work on that alternating sides. Or maybe you work both feet up so that you're in this crow pose here. For those of you in crow pose, you have been doing so well. Your crows are so strong. On the next exhale, we'll all meet in Malasana squat. And then my all-time favorite posture ever, very technical term, plop on your asana. Taking the seat to the earth and bringing the soles of the feet out in front of us for a little assisted boat pose here. So we're going to do some more yogic abs here. This might be a lot, especially if you've had a big lunch. So maybe this right here is like a lot on your abs. That's perfect to stay right here. If you want a little bit more, you'll bring the shins parallel to the ceiling, and then you'll flex the toes towards the nose. And maybe you stay right here. Maybe this is your jam today. So you're going to hang out here. For those of you seeking a little bit more, as you inhale, bring the hands to prayer at heart center and really lower the body as if the whole body's going to kiss the earth, but it just doesn't come all the way down. Then exhale, pull the knees up, lift the torso, and come into what I like to call Frogger pose. Inhale to lower the body. Exhale to pull it up. Inhale to lower. You can even open mouth. Ha! Exhale to pull this up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, pull it in. 2 more, just like that. Inhale and exhale. Last time, inhale to lower the body. Exhale, pull up and hold. Hold here. 1 more breath. Exhale, set the soles of the feet to the earth. Taking the hands back behind the sacrum, you can take a few windshield wipers. I find that those yogic abs in that way sometimes also cause my hip flexors a little bit of tension. So dropping both knees to the side and then to the other side and allowing a little bit of relaxation through the hips there. And then beginning to find some stillness and working in a little bit of static stretching into this practice. Extending the right leg long on the mat and pulling the sole of the left foot into the inner right thigh. Inhale to lengthen the torso and turn the torso towards the extended leg. And as you exhale, you really want to hinge at the hip crease here, lowering the upper torso. And it's very natural here to round the spine and drop the chin and try and pull our forehead to the knee. I'll invite you instead to really lengthen through the spine and encourage the chest to pull towards the toes and flex the toes back towards the chest, keeping a long spine and really encouraging a fold at the hip crease rather than just rolling over the spine. 1 more breath here. And on the next inhale, begin to walk the hands back towards the body, bringing the left hand behind the sacrum. Inhale, reach the right arm towards the sky to pop you up on the left knee, and extend the right arm back behind the body. I like to call this a little wild thing. Just a little counter back bend to having forward folded. And then as you exhale 1 more time, bring the seat to the earth and reach for that extended foot. Inhale to release. And simply switching sides here, just extending the left leg long on the mat, and then pulling the sole of the right thigh, or the right sole of the foot to the inner left thigh here. And then inhale to lengthen the spine and turn the body towards the extended leg. Exhale to forward fold, hinging at the hip crease and reaching for either just behind the knee, the shin, or the foot. Really pulling the abs towards the spine here to create space for the forward fold and sending the breath to the back body. On your next inhale, walking the hands back towards the torso, taking the right hand back behind the sacrum this time. Inhale, lift the left arm towards the sky to pop you up on the right knee. Little back bend here, reaching that extended arm towards the back of the mat. And as you exhale, bringing the seat to the earth and one last time, reaching for the extended toes. And inhale to bring the torso up. And bringing both feet out in front of the body, planting the soles of the feet on the earth here, bringing the palms up, facing the palms towards the sky. Slowly begin to roll the vertebra one at a time, all the way down to the mat space. Moving through a few rounds of bridge pose here. Always an option to reach for a block or a bolster and set yourself up for an assisted bridge. If you opt to take the assisted bridge, please just feel free to hang out in that assisted bridge while we move through a few rounds. I'll cue you when it's time to remove any of the props or bolsters. So just hang out, and for everybody else, we're going to pull the heels in towards the seat, but only so close as our fingertips graze the back of the heels. And then on your next inhale, press the weight into the heels and lift the hips towards the sky, bridge pose. And here in bridge pose, it's really, really natural for us to clench our seat muscles. See, instead of, if you could unclench the seat muscles and press the knees to the top of the mat. Little different stretch there. And on your next exhale, you can begin to roll the vertebra one at a time, all the way down, back onto the mat. And we just really opened the pelvic region, and so it might feel really nice here to bring the feet about as wide as the mat space and knock the knees in towards one another. And from here, it might feel nice to begin to windshield wiper the knees by dropping them both over to the right side and then up and over to the left side. And then starting to set up for our next round of bridge pose, bringing the soles of the feet back to the earth, pulling them towards the seat, keeping them about hip distance apart. And as you inhale, press the heels into the earth, lift the hips, bridge pose. Option here to take a bind by wiggling the shoulder blades under the spine, interlacing the fingers, and really, really trying to get the palms of the hands to touch. If you can get the palms of the hands to touch completely, then press the fingers towards the knees to extend the arms long. We really don't want to overstretch the shoulders though, so if you find that the palms can't touch, I'll invite you to not try and do the reach. Just work on getting the interlaced fingers and palms. For those of you that opted to take the bind, I'll invite you to release the bind and slowly roll the vertebra down one at a time. And then again, option to take the feet out about as wide as the mat and allow the knees to fall in towards one another. And then again, option to start to take the windshield wipers, both knees over to one side and then the other. And then starting to find some stillness here, placing the heels again on to the mat, soles of the feet flat, pulling the heels in towards the body. Those of you who have wheel practice regularly in your practice, I'll invite you to take wheel now, but I will invite that you try and hold wheel pose for 5 yogic breaths. For those of you that do not have wheel pose in your normal practice, we'll move through one more round of bridge pose, pressing the heels into the earth. Inhale, lift the hips towards the sky. On this being our last bridge pose, I'll invite you to try and get the arch in the back just behind the shoulder blades. really pressing into the chest space and allowing the front chest to shine towards the sky. Always the option to take the hand bind. For those of you in wheel pose, please take your time and work through your 5 rounds of breath. For those of you in bridge pose, if you took the bind, I'll invite you to release the bind and slowly roll the vertebra one at a time all the way down onto the mat. For those of you in wheel pose, I'll invite you to begin to start to meet us with your back fully rested on the mat, soles of the feet on the mat. Moving now into shoulder stand. I have to get a little bit of momentum. I have to slightly rock back and forth to rock my knees up towards my forehead. Then I can reach back and hold on with my hands to my back hip space. Inhale to extend the legs towards the sky. And instead of pointing the toes towards the sky, see instead if you can flex the toes slightly and point the balls of the feet towards the sky, creating a little bit like Barbie feet with some flexion. Once you've found your balance, I'll invite you to close the eyes and take the gaze inward. From this shoulder stand, if plow pose is in your regular practice, engaging through the core, you can begin to drop the feet towards the earth over the head. Plow pose. From plow pose, I'll invite you to drop the knees to the earth, moving into deaf man pose, bringing the knees alongside the ears and gently squeezing the side of the head, muffling the sound. And we'll move out of this the way that we came in, from deaf man to plow pose to shoulder stand, and shoulder stand gently rolling the vertebra down one at a time until the body comes very long and flat on the mat. Once completely flat on the mat, pointing the toes towards the top of the mat and pressing yourself up onto the forearms, lifting the chest towards the sky and allowing the head to drop back, fish pose. Any variation of fish pose is welcome. As you exhale, I invite you to tuck the chin and roll the spine one at a time all the way down onto the mat. Taking our last posture here, bending the knees and bringing them into happy baby pose, as if you could stamp your feet onto the sky above you, bending the knees and reaching for either the outsides of the feet or the shins here. The goal is to keep the back of the skull, the neck, the full vertebrae, including the sacrum, flat on the mat. Sometimes for me, reaching for the outside edges of the feet is quite a lot, so I have to reach for my shins to keep my full spine long on the mat. And as all happy babies do, they roll around gently on the mat, sometimes bending one knee and extending the other fully, and then taking that to the other side. But for sure, happy babies always smile. And then beginning to work our way into Shavasana. If there's a pose that you really felt that you needed today, please take a moment to take that pose now. For everyone else, we'll start to set up for our final resting posture by allowing our legs to go long on the mat and taking our feet out about as wide as the mat, allowing our arms to come long alongside the body, resting the backs of the hands on the mat space. I'll invite you to close the eyes, and in your mind's eye, imagine all of the energy that you created in class today. See that energy residing in the big toe and watch it roll over the ball of the foot, the arch of the foot, and then exit the body through the heel. Allowing the lower legs to completely relax and releasing all control of the breath here. Imagine the seat as 2 bags of water gently pulling you into the mat space, releasing any tension you might be holding in the abdomen region, relaxing the palms of the hands, the forearms, and the biceps, completely relaxing the chest space, relaxing the throat, and all of the tiny muscles of the face, allowing your eyes to sweetly sink behind your cheekbones, and the crown of the head to relax. Thank you so much for joining me today. You worked so hard. You were so strong on the mat. Welcome to your Shavasana. You can begin to invite awareness back into the body by inviting a deeper inhale and a deeper exhale through the chest space, beginning to wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes, and gently taking some wrist circles and ankle circles, bringing the legs together and pointing the toes, reaching the arms up overhead as if this were the first stretch of morning, and really stretching the self out in a long lean line. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then I'll invite you to roll to the right side body, using the right arm as a grounded pillow, and pulling the knees gently into the chest as if in fetal position. Resting the left hand palm on the mat beside you, bringing a moment of stillness one last time into this space. Keeping the eyes closed, I'll invite you to use the strength of your arms to press yourself into a comfortable seated position on the mat. Drawing the hands to prayer at heart center and gently resting and bowing the chin here. Giving one last moment of gratitude. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and practicing with me here on the interwebs. Thank you so much for coming to my website and flowing with me online.